Geoff stood in Aaron's room looking at the half-packed boxes and the wheelchair parked near the bed. The house was quiet, but it did not feel peaceful. It felt like everyone was holding their breath, waiting for the next hard thing to happen. "Should I pack Aaron's wheelchair?" Geoff asked. Frank looked up from the box he was tapping shut. He looked tired, like he had been tired for months and sleep could not fix it. "Yeah," Frank said. "He gets tired easy from his low muscle tone. Remember, even if he says he can handle it, he can't push himself too much." Geoff swallowed hard. "I should have checked on you guys more," he said. Frank did not answer right away, he just kept folding Aaron's clothes. Geoff stepped closer. "Frank, I'm sorry for being an ass to you before." Frank stopped folding for a second. "Get some sweatpants for Aaron tomorrow," Frank said. "It's going to be a long drive for him." Geoff's face fell. "I'm apologizing to you." Frank turned around slowly. "That man in the bed asks for you," Frank said, pointing toward Aaron's room. "Even though I'm the one showering him, I'm the one changing his shitty diapers, I'm the one helping him calm down after his night terrors. He still asks for you because he wants his brother." Geoff went quiet. Frank's voice cracked. "You finish packing here," Frank said. "I need air." Frank walked out onto the porch and shut the door behind him. The night air hit his face and for a moment he just stood there trying not to fall apart. Then he pulled out a cigarette, lit it, and took a long drag. The porch door opened behind him. Geoff stepped outside. "He wasn't the only one that lost his parents, Frank," Geoff said quietly. "I did as well." Frank closed his eyes. "I know," he said. Geoff's voice shook. "I lost Mom, I lost Dad. I didn't know how to come back here and face Aaron falling apart. I didn't know how to face you looking at me like I failed him." Frank turned toward him. "You did fail him," Frank said, "but I know you lost them too." Geoff lowered his head. Frank looked out into the dark. "If my friend Dova never checked on me, I don't know what I've stuff done," Frank admitted. "There were nights Aaron was screaming for Mom, asking where you were, crying so hard he couldn't breathe, and I was trying to keep him together while I was breaking apart myself." Geoff wiped his face. "I should have been here." "Yeah," Frank said, "you should have." Inside the house, Aaron cried out in his sleep. "Mom," Aaron whimpered. "Where are you, Mom?" Geoff froze. Frank immediately put out the cigarette and went inside. Geoff followed him to Aaron's doorway. Aaron was still asleep, tears slipping down his face. Geoff panicked. "Should we wake him up?" Frank shook his head. "If he's not waking up, let it pass." "You sure?" Frank's face was full of exhaustion. 1 year and a half and 5 months, Frank said. "I know." Geoff stared at him. Frank moved closer to Aaron's bed but did not touch him too fast. "You're safe, Aaron," Frank whispered. "You're home, we're here." Aaron's crying slowly faded back into uneven breathing. Geoff watched Frank wipe Aaron's cheek gently with a tissue. "You had to do this every night," Geoff whispered. Frank nodded. "Most nights." Geoff looked at Aaron, guilt all over his face. Frank turned back toward the boxes. "Don't just be sorry," Frank said, "be there." The next morning, the house was full of movement. Boxes were stacked by the door, bags were packed, and Aaron sat in his wheelchair with a blanket over his lap. He looked around the room, scared and confused. "Why?" Aaron asked, his voice shaking. "I don't want to go. Mom and Dad will not find us." Frank crouched down in front of him. "They're at the new place," Frank said gently. Aaron blinked. "They are." Frank nodded, even though his face looked pained. "Yeah, they're already there, we just have to get to them." Geoff heard it from the hallway and froze. "Frank," Geoff said, "living room." Frank stood. "Aaron, eat a little, we'll be right back." In the living room, Geoff turned on him. "Why are you lying to Aaron?" Frank's jaw tightened. "Do you want your brother overwhelmed?" "No," Geoff said, "but—" "Then follow my lead," Frank said. "Right now he is scared. If I tell him everything while he's already panicking, he's going to shut down before we even get him in the van." Geoff hated it, but he nodded. They went back to Aaron's room. Frank crouched again. "Aaron, it's going to be a long drive, so we're going to put 2 diapers on and your onesie, okay? That way you'll be comfortable." Aaron shook his head. "I don't want to go." "I know," Frank said, "but Geoff, you and I are going to see your parents, they're already there." Aaron's lip trembled. "Okay, Daddy Frank." Geoff turned away for a second, trying not to cry. Frank got Aaron ready carefully. Geoff packed Aaron's wheelchair charger, cushion, straps, blanket, and extra clothes. Before they left the room, Aaron looked at Geoff. "You coming too?" Geoff nodded. "Yeah, I'm coming too." "Don't leave." "I won't," Geoff said, "not this time." They loaded Aaron into the van and started the long drive to the new house. For a while Aaron slept. Then suddenly he jerked awake, breathing hard. "They're dead," Aaron said, his voice shaking. "They're dead." Frank turned around fast. "Aaron, look at me." Aaron's eyes filled with tears. "Why did the two of you lie?" he cried. "I hate my brain, fuck." The van pulled over. Frank moved close, careful not to grab Aaron too fast. "You're right," Frank said softly. "They're not at the new house like that, I'm sorry." Aaron sobbed. "I trusted you." "I know," Frank whispered. "I was trying to get you through the morning, but I hurt you, I'm sorry." Geoff leaned forward. "I went along with it too, I'm sorry, Aaron." Aaron cried harder. "I don't want this brain, it forgets, then it remembers, and then it hurts again." Frank took his hand. "Your brain is trying to protect you and hurting you at the same time, but it is not your fault." Aaron looked at both of them. "I know why you guys lied," he said later when his breathing slowed, "but I still hate it." Frank nodded. "We know. No fake stuff anymore." "No fake stuff," Frank promised. Geoff nodded too. "If I don't know what to say, I'll say that instead of lying." Aaron held his parents' picture against his chest for the rest of the ride. When the driver finally pulled up at the new house, he looked back at them. "Guys, we're here." Geoff nodded. "Thank you." Then the driver turned around again. "That'll be $900. Geoff frowned. "We paid you already." The driver's face hardened. "Yeah, for the ride, but my van smells like shit. Your brother or whoever he is went in my van. Who's going to clean this up? You pay or the cops have to come." Aaron's face went red with shame. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Frank snapped his eyes to Aaron. "You don't apologize for your body." Geoff stepped toward the driver. "You're not doing this in front of him." The driver crossed his arms. "I can't drive people around with my van like this." Geoff looked at Frank. "Take Aaron inside the house, I'll wait for the cops." Frank hesitated. "Geoff." "I got it," Geoff said, "take him inside." Aaron started crying. "Geoff, don't leave." Geoff crouched in front of him. "I'm not leaving, I'm staying right outside. You're going inside with Frank where it's quiet." Frank took Aaron inside and got him cleaned up while Geoff waited outside. The police arrived. The cop asked what's going on. Geoff explained, "My brother can't always understand when his body needs to use the bathroom. He's 32, but mentally he's like a 3-year-old sometimes. He's disabled. It was an accident." The driver snapped, "I can't drive people in here if the van smells like shit. I added $900 to get this cleaned. I can't drive like this all night." The cop asked if the driver had told them about a cleaning fee before the ride. The driver had not. Geoff said, "I'll pay a real cleaning bill with proof, but I'm not paying $900 because he humiliated my brother." The driver shouted, "He took a damn dump in my van. They need to put him away." The cop's face hardened. "Watch your mouth." Geoff looked the driver dead in the eyes. "My brother is not a problem to be put away, he is a person." Inside, Aaron heard enough to cry again. "He said put me away," Aaron whispered. Frank knelt in front of him. "That man was cruel, he was wrong." 2 days later, Geoff checked the mail and found a small claims court envelope. Frank looked up. "Mail." Geoff opened it and his face went pale. "That driver is suing us. He's suing for his van, emotional distress, and payment for jobs he couldn't do because of Aaron's accident." Aaron's eyes filled. "Because of me." Frank turned to him. "No, this is not your fault." Geoff read more. Frank took the paper and let out a bitter laugh. "You know he broke about 5 ADA laws that night," Frank said. "If he wants to sue, we can countersue." Geoff looked up the driver online. The driver's name was Pat Linder. Then Geoff found something else. "He has a disabled daughter," Geoff said. Frank looked at him. "What?" "Her name is Wendy. When Wendy was 21, Pat and his wife Mary put her in a group home. $35,000 a month. Aaron looked over. He has a disabled kid. Frank nodded carefully. Looks like it. Aaron's face twisted. Then why did he talk about me like that? Nobody had an answer. Geoff called the group home to check if Wendy was really related to Pat. When a staff member asked if he was family, Geoff lied and said yes. The man on the phone said Pat never comes, not even his wife. They send a check and go back to their own life. Wendy is nonverbal, so we don't always know what she knows and doesn't. Geoff hung up. Frank exploded. What the hell was that? I needed to know, Geoff said. No, Frank snapped. You wanted to know, you lied to get private information from a care home. That can hurt us, that can hurt Aaron, that can hurt Wendy. Aaron looked at Geoff. You lied again. Geoff's face fell. Yeah, he said, I did, I'm sorry. Aaron looked down. Wendy didn't do anything, don't be mean to Wendy. Frank nodded. Wendy just stays Wendy, this is about what Pat did to Aaron. They met with lawyers. Pat sat across from Frank and Geoff with his lawyer, looking angry but not sorry. Pat said, I need this money or my kid will get kicked out. My wife and I don't need this, Wendy needs that place. Frank stared at him. The way Pat said it was cold, like Wendy was a bill and not a daughter. Geoff said, she's your daughter. Pat answered, and she needs full-time care. Frank's lawyer said, your financial stress does not give you the right to mistreat another disabled person. Pat scoffed. Aaron needs a therapist, Pat said, Wendy is fine. His lawyer warned him, what if they bring up your kid in court? Pat said, I'll say the same thing there. His lawyer tried to explain that he was making the case worse, but Pat would not listen. Finally, Pat slammed his hand on the table. You're fired, I'm doing this my damn self, I'm going pro se, I'll still pay you but I don't need you. His lawyer looked at him. That is exactly why you need a lawyer. But Pat left. Later Geoff warned Aaron. Pat may use Wendy for his case, get ready. Aaron looked upset. She shouldn't be part of this. Frank said we didn't bring her up, Pat did. Aaron shook his head. Wendy didn't yell at me, Wendy didn't say put me away, Wendy didn't sue us, she shouldn't be used. Frank promised they would not attack Wendy. Aaron typed a statement on his tablet. Wendy is not my enemy, I hope she is okay, but Pat hurt me, this case is about what Pat said and did to me. Frank put it in the folder with Aaron's first statement. I had an accident, I was scared, the driver yelled, he said I should be put away, I felt like I was not a person. I am a person. At court Pat brought Wendy. Before the hearing Pat leaned down and said, Wendy, like always you know what to do. Wendy said quietly, yes father. Don't talk a lot in court, okay? Wendy whispered, this isn't fair. Pat's eyes narrowed. You like it here, yeah? Wendy looked down. Fine, I will not talk. Good girl, Pat said. Aaron saw Wendy in the hallway and noticed fear in her eyes. She can talk, Aaron whispered. In court, Pat said his van was ruined, he lost work and Wendy's care cost money. Aaron's lawyer said they were willing to pay a real cleaning invoice, but the humiliation and threats were wrong. Wendy looked at Aaron and suddenly spoke. Is it not fair that my father is allowed to get mad? A disabled man left my dad's car in a mess. If Aaron was an able-bodied guy, he would have to pay, right? But because he's disabled, it's okay? No. Aaron messed up my father's van and Aaron should be held accountable just like everyone else. I have a disability, but when I mess up, I fix it. I don't hide behind the ADA. Aaron flinched. His lawyer stood. My client was humiliated by your father. Wendy said coldly, then Aaron needs therapy to deal with that. Aaron cried but lifted his head. I can get therapy and still be hurt, Aaron said. I can pay a cleaning bill and still say your father was cruel, both can be true. Wendy said get therapy then. Aaron whispered I will, but not to make him right. Later Aaron asked her, Wendy, what if someone embarrassed you? Wendy said I would pay my bill and move on with my life, I'm not wasting my time in a courtroom. Aaron looked at her sadly. Sorry to hear that. After court, Wendy waited outside Aaron's new house. When they arrived, she was near the walkway with papers in her lap. We don't want to see you three again, she said. Aaron looked at her. Your dad was using you. Wendy snapped. Before Frank could stop it, Wendy slapped Aaron across the face. Aaron gasped. She shoved papers toward them. Restraining orders, fuck you. Then she left before anyone could say anything. Aaron touched his cheek, crying. She hit me. Frank knelt in front of him. I saw, and it was not okay. Geoff called the lawyer. They documented the mark on Aaron's face and saved the papers. Wendy returned to the group home furious. She told a nurse, if people come or call, tell them I'm not here, but my parents can call like before. The nurse asked, what if it's important? Wendy repeated, then I'm not here. Wendy snapped, Aaron doesn't know my fucking life. He thinks my dad used me, but he doesn't know me. I know my life. I want only my parents to call, no one else. Aaron needs to mind his own business. He thinks I was being used by my father, but I was helping my dad. It's a big difference. The next morning, a police officer came to Aaron's house with papers. Miss Wendy Linder is suing Aaron for defamation, the officer said. She claims he said her father was using her. She wants him to retract the statement or pay $40 million in emotional distress. Aaron stared at him. What the fuck? Aaron cried. Geoff, come check this. She slapped me last night and now this. Geoff read the papers and almost exploded. She came to our house, Geoff said. She hit Aaron, now she's suing him. Aaron laughed in a broken way. All of this because I messed myself in this guy's van. Now she's suing me for what I saw and said to her. Fuck my life, I have a TBI, this is too much. Frank crouched in front of him. I know it's too much. Aaron cried, every time I try to get one thing right, another thing happens. The case went back to court. The judge looked at Aaron and said, Aaron, what you said caused harm. She will get $40 million. Aaron's lawyer stood. Objection, Your Honor, you haven't heard the case. The judge said, in this case, I heard everything in the last case. Your client said if he needed to pay, he would. Aaron's lawyer said, yes, but that was about a cleaning bill. The judge leaned forward. One more interruption, and she gets $80 million. Wendy said, this kid ruined our family. My dad told me to stay quiet. I did until I didn't want to. That means I pick when I want to talk or not. I am not a dog. My dad and I have a great relationship, but this man tells me I'm being used. That is a lie. Wendy's lawyer added, Aaron has $60 billion in a trust, so yes, they have money. Frank snapped, that is a lie. Geoff stood. Your Honor, can I speak? The judge nodded. Geoff said he did have money, but not $60 billion. When Aaron was born, my parents sued my mom's doctor because Aaron was left with a traumatic brain injury. It was around $40 million back then, but now it's about $37 million, and that money is for Aaron's care, his wheelchair, his therapy, his doctors, his diapers, his aides, his future. It is not money for people to chase. Aaron started crying. I hate that money, Aaron said. That money means I got hurt. Wendy looked at Pat. You told me he had $60 billion. Pat looked away. Wendy asked, is that why my lawyer took the case? Her lawyer looked uncomfortable. We were told there were significant assets. Wendy looked at Pat. You lied. Pat snapped, I did what I had to do. Aaron looked at Wendy. That's what I meant. Aaron became overwhelmed. Judge, Aaron said, crying, can I go outside? I can't be here right now. His lawyer stood. My client is requesting that he be allowed to go home with his caregiver while his brother and I finish this case. He is too overwhelmed. The judge granted it. Frank took Aaron home while Geoff stayed with the lawyer. For a moment, it seemed like the judge dismissed Wendy's case, then he changed direction. I am granting $40 million to Wendy, the judge said, case dismissed after judgment. Wendy smiled. Yes, she said, I want it. Geoff's stomach dropped. Aaron's lawyer objected, saying there was no evidence and no legal basis, but the judge pushed the ruling through. After everyone else left, the judge stepped down from the bench and shook Pat's hand. Pat said thank you. Wendy looked up at him. Grandpa, thank you. The judge was Pat S.R., Pat's father and Wendy's grandfather. Pat S.R. leaned close. Go to the airport, throw away your phones, we live off the grid. Pat asked 3 years. Pat S.R. said yes. Wendy smiled. Let's go then. No one caught them. That night Aaron's lawyer called. Geoff answered. The lawyer's voice was tense. We have an issue. Geoff stood up. What issue? The trust is gone. Geoff froze. What do you mean gone? I mean zero, the lawyer said. The account is showing $0. Aaron heard and started shaking. My care money. Frank moved in front of him. The lawyer said, we are treating this as theft and fraud, but right now the trust shows $0. Aaron sobbed. They stole my care. That money was my wheelchair, my doctors, my home, my help. Geoff called the police. When officers arrived, one of them looked ashamed. I'm sorry, the cop said, that family we can't help. Geoff stared at him. Why not? The cop lowered his voice. His wife is our boss, Mary is our boss, they are too powerful to fight. Aaron cried from the living room. So I lose my care because you're scared. The officer looked down. I'm sorry. Frank snapped, do not stand in my doorway and tell him sorry like that fixes anything. Geoff recorded the conversation and sent it to the lawyer. Then Mary came to the house. Mary was Pat's wife and Wendy's mother. She came with Officer Davis, took the written statement he had made, ripped it up on the porch and said, Officer Davis, you're fired. Then she looked toward the house. Geoff, Frank, Aaron, keep my family's names out of your mouths. The lawyer was on the phone and heard everything. Mary threatened them, but Officer Davis finally broke. I'll testify, Davis said. I'll tell them what I said, I'll tell them what she did. Mary threatened him, but Davis walked away. Then Mary came back with 30 officers. She stood outside and shouted, Officers, take these 3 men away and the crippled boy too. Aaron broke down. Frank stood in front of him. You are not touching him without a warrant. Mary came into the house anyway with officers behind her. The lawyer was on speaker warning them this was retaliation. Mary hung up the phone. Officer Davis appeared outside recording. I called state police. He said. State police arrived before Mary could finish what she came to do. Aaron yelled, take that bitch out of my fucking house. Then his body stiffened. He had a seizure. Geoff screamed, Frank, oh shit no, Aaron, stay with me. Frank moved fast. Geoff, call 911 now. Frank locked Aaron's wheelchair, moved things away from him, protected his head, and did not hold him down. Aaron, I'm here, Frank said. Daddy, Frank is here. Geoff called emergency services, crying as he explained that Aaron had a TBI and was seizing. When the seizure slowed, Aaron was dazed and terrified. I need you, Aaron sobbed. Geoff dropped beside him. I'm here, Frank's here. Frank called the lawyer back on speaker. Rebecca, Aaron had a seizure. The lawyer asked, is he conscious? Yes, Frank said, paramedics are here. Aaron cried. Mary came in. Frank said she came back with officers, she ordered them to take us and called Aaron a crippled boy. Aaron screamed for her to get out, then seized. Officer Davis said he had the recording. The lawyer told him to preserve it. The paramedics said Aaron needed to be evaluated at the hospital. Aaron cried, no hospital, please, no more. Frank held his hand. We have to make sure your brain is okay. Aaron looked at Geoff. You coming? Geoff said, I'm coming, I promise. At the hospital, Aaron finally fell asleep. Frank sat beside the bed. Geoff stood near the window on the phone with Rebecca. Rebecca's voice was heavy. I have been calling judges all night. Emergency judges, state judges, federal contacts. I can't get a judge to take the case. Geoff froze. What do you mean? Because of this family, Rebecca said. Because of Mary, because of Pat SR. Everyone either knows them, worked with them, owes them something, or is scared of them. Geoff snapped, shit, Mary almost scared my TBI brother to death and nobody wants the case. I don't care about the money anymore. My brother almost died. Aaron stirred. Geoff. Geoff went to him fast. I'm here. Aaron whispered, lawyer. Frank said she's on the phone. Aaron's eyes filled. No lies. Geoff swallowed. No lies, Rebecca is having trouble finding a judge who isn't scared of Mary's family. Aaron stared weakly. So nobody helps. Frank shook his head. Not nobody, just not the people who should have helped first. Rebecca said, I may not have a judge tonight, but I still have filings, I still have recordings, I still have Officer Davis, I still have medical records from the seizure, I still have proof Mary came to your home with officers. This is not over. Aaron closed his eyes. I'm tired. Frank held his hand. I know. Jeff's voice broke. You rest, I'm mad enough for both of us. Aaron gave the smallest weak laugh, then cried again. Frank asked Rebecca what they could do if no judge wanted the case. Rebecca said, we go outside the circle: civil rights attorneys, disability rights groups, federal investigators, press contacts I trust. If the local system is too afraid, we make it bigger than local. Aaron whispered, I don't want to die because people want money. Frank leaned over him. You are not going to die tonight, you are in a hospital, you are being watched, I am here, Geoff is here, we are not letting them near you. Aaron cried. Don't let them take me. Frank said, nobody takes you. Geoff took Aaron's other hand. Nobody. Aaron looked at Geoff. If we don't get the money back, don't let me go away. Jeff's face crumpled. You are not going away. I cost too much. Frank's voice turned firm. Stop, you are not a cost, you are my family. Geoff nodded through tears. You could have $0 forever, and you would still be my brother. Aaron looked at him. You left before. Geoff accepted the hit. I did, and I'll regret it every day, but I am not leaving now. Aaron stared at him for a long moment. Stay tonight. Geoff nodded. I'm staying tonight. Frank nodded too. We both are. Aaron finally closed his eyes again. Outside the room, the world was corrupt, cruel, and dangerous. Inside the room, Aaron was alive. Frank sat on one side of him. Geoff sat on the other. Rebecca kept working. Officer Davis preserved the recording. Mary's family had power. But Aaron still had people who refused to let him disappear. Geoff looked across Aaron's hospital bed at Frank and whispered, if no judge wants the case, we make the whole damn world look at it. Frank nodded slowly. Yeah, he said, but first Aaron sleeps. Geoff looked at Aaron's pale, exhausted face. First Aaron sleeps, he repeated. And for the rest of the night, they stayed awake for him.